record this because I'm training a couple new agents,
Okay.
and they're always asking me, Neal, will you just show me what you do? So this is the kind of the best way to do it. So anyway, so let me do this then. And let me share. So the reason we do a Zoom, it just makes it easy so you can see my screen. And that way I can explain a little bit easier. You know what they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words, right?
That's
So,
right.
and it's the end of the day. And you know, us men only speak 13,500 words a day. So that's why when we come home and our wives want to talk, they talk 22,000 words a day. And we're like, I'm out of words.
I agree with that. All we do is listen, right?
So tell me, make sure can you see my screen?
Yes, I see it.
Okay, perfect.
Hey,
So
come on.
so
She's
you're
trying
right
to show me.
about
She's
you're
trying
right
to show
about
my
the
daughter
different.
how to cook some.
Oh, well, and feel free to eat dinner as we go.
Hey,
It's no big deal.
nah, she okay.
And Derek, tell me your wife's name again. Is it
Stalwart, Stalwart.
and what's your wife's name?
Tracy.
Tracy. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay, perfect. That way I don't have to say, hey, you. Hey, Alabama.
Yeah.
We'll wait a couple seconds. So have you seen a drop in your 401k?
Actually, it's been kind of steady, to be honest with you. I do
Okay.
high risk, so it might have been kind of steady. I don't know about her. You saw a drop in your 401k, right? Have you seen a drop in your? She said she didn't even look at it.
Yeah, so well, how about 2022? Did you see any
Yeah,
kind
we
of,
did see a drop.
yeah. Is it back up over the 22 levels?
Yeah.
Okay. So there is a real kind of clear and present danger. Guys like Robert Kiyosaki, Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, they're all predicting before the election they're predicting a drop in the stock market pretty substantial. So anyways, so what we'll do, we'll go through this and then we'll go up to a company that we write for, which is National Life Group. We'll put your numbers in just so you can see what it looks like. But you're right. When the market goes up, an IUL goes up, but when the market goes down, it protects your accumulation value.
Okay.
Okay. And the other thing I can do is when we're done, I can always send you the recording. That way, your wife will get to see it also. Okay.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm coming. Just one second. I'm telling my car.
I'm gonna take notes too. I printed out your uh, trendsetter
Oh,
that you
okay.
had sent me.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
Perfect.
yeah, I'm gonna take a few notes myself as we go through this.
Well, and as we go through it, if you have questions, you're not interrupting, just ask them. Okay.
Okay.
It's,
Okay.
so our company is a company called FFL Family First Life. We're about 10,000 agents. My agency, which is Achievers Insurance, strictly focuses on IULs and annuities. So what an annuity is, it has the same component. It has a zero floor, but it doesn't have any life insurance attached to it. So a lot of the guys that can't qualify for an IUL usually jump over and do an annuity. Okay. So basically, a little bit on me. I go by Neal M. Brown because there's a football coach named Neal Brown who used to be at UK and then he went to West Virginia. So if you Google me, all that comes up is stuff about that lousy West Virginia football program. Okay. So I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. It's really easy to find me. Um, Licensed in all 50 states. So this is all I do are IULs. I'm a specialist in it. As you read from that document, I everybody thinks an IUL, all IULs are the same. They are not. There's big differences in how you structure them, and different companies offer different features and benefits. So we know all the ins and outs. I specialize in these advanced markets, particularly executive bonuses, key person insurance. I do both individuals and business people. So just kind of getting down to what is an IUL, and then I'll show you an illustration here. So Index Universal Life, or IUL, it's permanent life insurance. So it provides a death benefit to protect, in this case, Tracy, if the worst should happen to you. So would Tracy be your beneficiary? Is that who you'd want the money to go to if something happened to you?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so that's the first part of it. There's a death benefit. The second part is it builds cash value during the lifetime of the product based on the movements of a stock market index. So the index earns an interest rate that reflects market performance, but your money isn't directly in the stock market. Okay, so there's the big difference between a 401k. It goes up and it goes down with the stock market. Here, it's not in the market, it can't go down. Okay, so that's called, and this is the hallmark of an IUL. It's a zero floor that protects you against drops in the stock market. So you never lose accumulation value. So in other words, if you look at your 401k in 2022, it went down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you would maintain that value. And then when the market started going up, you would start going up from that level versus being down and now having to get all the way to even, right? So think of how much farther you'd be ahead if you didn't have to experience 2022. So this is my illustration, my visual on what it is. So there's two buckets. One is a
Okay.
death benefit, one is a cash accumulation. And so what we try and do is put the least amount of money in the death benefit as the IRS allows. So the maximum amount of money can go in the cash accumulation bucket. And then over time through compounding interest, and it's not 70% a year, it's nothing crazy like that, but it's a consistent 8 to 12% a year. That money compounds in the accumulation bucket. The key to it is that if you need money, you can pull money out anytime after the first year. Okay, they do not like you to pull money out after before the first year because they want that money. They want to give it time to accumulate. Okay, so as I
Okay.
mentioned before, Derek, I'm a broker, which means I underwrite for a ton of different companies. You probably recognize the Mutual Omaha, Transamerica, AIG, all the big guys. When it comes to IULs, we choose National Life Group for a couple different reasons. Number one, they were established in 1848. So think about that. They're 175 years old this year. So they've had clients on the Titanic, on the Hindenburg. So
Okay.
the point is, you want to know who you're dealing with, because if you're going to give money every month to an IUL, you want to know that the company's solid.
Yeah.
And so with National Life Group, they're number one in IUL sales for 3 consecutive years. This is measured by the number of IULs they write and the market share that they have. And then number two, they're based in Vermont. They have the highest financial ratings of Standard and Poor's, Moody's, and AM Best. So it's out there. They publish this stuff every year. They're just a great company. In fact, Derek, did you ever see The Sound of Music? That with Julie,
See what now?
The Sound of Music.
Did we see that right? The Sound of Music. The movie, The Sound of Music.
No, I haven't seen
I hadn't saw that.
Okay, it's an old movie, and it's about a singing family in Austria before World War II. Hitler wanted Mr. Van Trapp to serve in the Nazi military. He wouldn't do it. After the third time they asked him to sing for Hitler, and he turned them down, they fled to America. They settled in the same area as National Life Group. So it just gives you a feel, because it reminded them of the mountains of Austria. So anyways, old company. So this is really what I want to land on. this is what we call the lost decade, and it goes from the year 2000 to 2010. Okay, and this is the red line is your 401k, and you can kind of see it goes up and down with the market. So when the market crashed, like in 2008, the market went down almost 41%. But the blue line is the IUL. And so what we're tracking here, we're tracking $100,000. We're starting in the year 2000. So what happened in 2000, right? 9/11.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody's 401ks that were in the market went down.
Yeah.
16 and a quarter, 18 and 3/4. But here's your zero floor. And so while you didn't make money for those 2 years, you didn't lose any money.
Hmm.
And then what happened is they both started going up, but you're underwater here, right? You're at 67,000. So by the time that run was over, now you're up to 109,000. But the IUL starting at 100 grand rose up to 158. And then remember the real estate crash?
Yeah.
Market went down big time, but the IUL didn't lose any accumulated value. So at the end of that decade, the IUL doubled in value. Now, if you're, let's play this out now. Okay, let's say, what's your age, Jarek?
51.
Okay, so you're 51. At the end of this decade, you would have been 61. You'd be thinking about retirement, and you look at your statement and you've actually lost money. And so it caused a lot of people to have to work more years. That's exciting, right?
Yeah, I know.
Right. But you would have doubled your money with the IUL. So that's really the difference between your 401k. If the market's going to move in three different directions, it can go down, it can go up, or it can go sideways. If you could eliminate one of those three directions, which one would you eliminate?
The down.
Absolutely. And that's what an IUL does. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty simple. It's not a very complicated concept. So what I want to show you, this is an actual IUL policy I wrote for a guy in Alaska. And he's a little younger than me and you, right? You're 51, I'm 65, he was 35. Had 4 girls. Do you have any children?
Yeah.
Are they grown or are they still at home?
They both.
Both. Okay.
Gone and still at home.
Okay. So he had 4 girls. He was divorced and he has sole custody. And I said, dude, like, do you have a dog, a male dog, or is it all girls? So anyways, he was concerned if something happened to him, he's got 4 girls to take care of. So his contribution was $500 a month. So all he did, he quit funding his 401k and started redirecting that money into his IUL. That's where he found the money, because it was kind of a challenge for him to come up with $500 a month in extra money. So he just diverted it, right? He just told this company, hey, quit pulling money out of my check. And he figured out how much he was putting in each month. And then once it got taxed, what would he have left? It would be 500. So that got him a $200,000 death benefit. So if he passed away the day after this policy went into effect, his 4 girls, he named all 4 as the beneficiary, 25% apiece. He's like, I'm not going to make them rich. They're going to have to work for it, but at least, it'll get them on their feet.
You get something. Yeah.
Well, the worst thing is, like in my life, it was when I was senior in high school, my mom died of breast cancer. I was 17, she was only 45. So, and you never get over that. That just stays with you your whole life, right?
Yeah.
So not only was it a loss, but my dad it was cancer. And so he took care of her for a year. And he was a manufacturer's rep and he didn't work the whole year. So all his companies let him go. He ended up going bankrupt, which was the second tragedy, right? Because bankruptcy is a 10-year bogey on your credit.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to protect your family. So if something were to happen, they experience your loss, which is bad enough, but they don't financially implode. So anyways, that's the death benefit. Now, the cash accumulation is that over time, his money accumulates. He can borrow anytime after the first year. So let's say at age 69, he needs to pull out 100 grand for whatever reason. He can pull that money out. He really never has to pay it back. And that 100 grand stays in the index, continuing to get whatever the index rate is, even though he's pulled the money out and used it. Okay. And so that's the value of the cash accumulation. Now you can also, he can turn this on and start drawing a certain amount every year to supplement his retirement, which is really what he wants to do. Now, one of the things that is the most understated part of an IUL is this right here. This is called living benefits. So if you become, so the point is you don't have to die to get money out of this policy. So God forbid, if you're ever terminally ill, defined by National Life Group as 24 months to live. Now, these are values at age 65, but obviously it could happen at 74, it could happen at 79, and that number would be much higher, right? So if you got terminally ill, if you get chronically ill, which is like a heart attack and you can't work and you need care, they'll pay you per month. If you're critically injured and you need a lump sum for your care, what they'll do is they'll factor what the value of the policy is and make you that offer. And if you want to take that, they'll close the policy and you can spend that money any way you want.
Oh,
If
wow.
you get critically injured at work, whatever, same thing. And then they added this year, which is Alzheimer's. If you get Alzheimer's or you have to be admitted to a nursing home 90 days after you're in the nursing home, your doctor will submit a statement, and whatever the accumulated value is, that's what they'll advance to you. So that is a big feature. That's why I took out my IUL. I didn't want to be a burden on my wife if something happened to me. So, although I'm going to live as long as Joseph lived, man. I'm going to be like 110.
Me too.
So does all that make any questions on that?
No. That's
Okay, pretty
good.
simple, right? So now let's do this. Let's go up to National Life Group. So this is the company. There's their little 175-year-old button there. Oh, you know what? Here, let me resume sharing and close this. Okay, and then let's redo that so you can see it. There we go. Can you see that now?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, perfect. So that's what I was talking about. There's a little 175-year-old. So what we're going to do, we're going to pull the curtain back and kind of show you what an IUL looks like. Okay, so it just takes a second here. Now you're in Alabama, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to build what's called an illustration. Every state has their own rules and regulations. So we got to pick the state here. Okay. So DARRICK. Do you have a middle initial, Derek?
D. D is in dog, yeah.
Okay. And Stallworth. Is it STALLWO?
WRTH.
Okay. WRTH. And what's your birthday, Derek?
010973.
73. Okay. 51 years young. And are you a smoker or non-smoker?
Non-smoker.
Perfect. Man, those smoking rates take the cost of the insurance way up. So here's the settings we were talking about. Minimum amount of death benefit, max cash value. And this is the other extreme. These are my real estate guys that have, let's say they have 2 million in mortgage debt and they want to pay it all off if something happens to them, right?
Yeah.
So which one of those, do you want to do the min max or which one are you thinking?
You have to do one. Yeah, the min max will be fine. Let's look at that.
Okay, perfect. And then some people pay it annually, some people pay it monthly. Which one works better for you?
Probably monthly.
Okay, perfect. And then we don't want you to pay this forever. We just want you to pay it while you're working, right? Because when you retire, you got to cut your expenses.
Okay.
So what age are you going to work till? Like 80? No.
I'm I want to say 55, 60. No more than
52?
60. Yeah. If I hit the lotto, yeah.
Well, yeah, right. So will they, so full
At
retirement's like 67?
least 5 more years, no more than 60 though.
No more. Okay. Can you retire that early?
If everything work out right,
Okay. So let's do,
I'll do 62. That'll be 10 years in that
Okay.
portfolio.
okay, perfect. And then this is probably the hardest part for people to come up with is you got to come up with a number that is comfortable for you guys to contribute. So do you know how much you're contributing to your 401k currently?
I do about about 500 a month.
About 500 a month?
I mean, nah, I do more than that every 2 weeks, ain't it?
Yeah.
About 400 every 2 weeks.
Okay. So let's
So about
say
800 a month.
about 800 a month. Okay. All right. All right. So let's go up and do this quick view. This is what I love about this program. Okay. So when we look at this, there's a couple things we want to notice here. Number one is at 800 a month, it would be about 266,000 in life insurance. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So you got to have insurance through work, right?
Yeah,
And then do you have any other policies outside of work that you pay on your own?
yeah.
And is it term insurance or is it whole
Whole
life?
life.
Okay.
Whole life.
And do you know what the death benefit is? What the amount is?
100.
100,000.
100,000. Okay. Now, if it's whole life, one of the things that we can do that's really a great program is so what is the difference between an IUL and a whole life? Okay, here's the difference. They're both permanent insurance. The difference is whole life gets a dividend from the company. It's based on their internal rate of return. It's usually 4%, sometimes 5%. It's not guaranteed, but it's somewhere in that range. When the IUL came along, it has smoked whole life because it's indexed to the stock market. So all of a sudden, people are getting 8, 10, 12, 15% rates of return on interest rates per year because the market goes up, they make money. When it goes down, they don't lose any money. So there's been this big shift over to IUL. So what if you have a whole life policy? So you have cash accumulation in whole life. And what you can do, you can 1035 exchange all the cash accumulation in a whole life policy and put it directly into the accumulation bucket in an IUL. Okay, and what that does, that just increases the accumulation, right? So I do a lot of 1035 exchanges. It doesn't cost you anything, right? So anyways, the second thing we're going to look at is, does the policy lapse? What that means is we don't want it to ever end, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to make this a little smaller just so you can see. Okay, so this is the policy year one, you're 51 years young. So I'm just going to show you that Joseph lived to 110. Okay, so if you live to 110, it's still going. If you live to 120, I think that was Moses, you'll accumulate like 5 million. So the point is, it doesn't end. It just keeps accumulating cash accumulation. So let's be a little more realistic. Let's say you live to 90. It's going to accumulate about 700,000. Let's say
Yeah,
you
what I'm
live
gonna
to
do with
80.
$730,000 at 90.
Well, and here's the best part. So I had a term policy. I have a term policy and an IUL. I still have the term. And I used to kind of daydream that I'm going down to get the mail. My term policy ends at age 80. And I'm thinking, all right, when I walk down the driveway to get the mail, I got to look over my shoulder because make sure my wife isn't backing down the driveway in the car. Like,
Yeah.
because there's 2 months left on that term policy. And I said, honey, check this out. I said, the longer you take care of me and I live, the more money. If you get me to 96 years old, it's $1 million. And so it just made me, I'm just kidding, but I've been married 39 years. You can joke about that stuff when you've been married 39 years. Okay. So this is, whatever the number is, right? We're just using 800 to show you the example. But now, a lot of people will ask, what if I want to contribute more in a given year? Okay, so 800 a month is 9,600 a year. You can contribute up to $20,702 and not exceed the IRS threshold to make this a taxable policy. Because when you start pulling money out, we want this tax-free, right? So there's room there. Like if you get a bonus, you want to throw it in your IUL, it goes right in the accumulation.
Excuse me.
Make sense? Okay, so what's all this? So you're going to work for 10 years. So we're only going to contribute for 10 years. Okay, so this is year one. You're age 51. This is what you would pay in, and this is what would go into the accumulation bucket, 7243. Okay, now what is this over here? Remember I told you insurance companies don't want you to pull any money out the first year?
Yeah.
Well, so all the companies do this. There's always a difference between your accumulation bucket and your bank. This is your bank right here. This is your bank account that you can pull money out. And you're going to see there's a difference in the first 5 years between the two buckets. And then what happens is, and all insurance companies do this, I don't know why they do it, but you get to 62, well, actually you get to 61 and the two buckets are identical. Okay, so for whatever reason they do that, they do that. Some companies take these all the way out to 15 years before the two buckets are equal. The other thing we like about National Life Group is those two buckets are equal after 10 years. Okay, now what happens if you make your first payment of $800 and you pass, God forbid, right? So this is what Tracy would get. She'd get 266,000. Okay, so, but that's small compared to what she will get if you live a long life. So what you're seeing here, this accumulation value never goes down. And it might stay the same. Now this is increasing at 6.4% a year. And the reason that we don't, it usually averages between 8 to 12. The commissioner, the insurance commissioner in the state of Alabama mandates that we show you 6.4% a year. It's just a rule that they have. Okay. So this is accumulating 6.4. If we ran this through a calculator at 10%, it would be about double these numbers. Okay, but let's look at the conservative numbers. Now, what happens is the death benefit stays at 266 until the cash accumulation comes within 5% of the death benefit. Then the IRS says, okay, National Life Group, you have to keep the death benefit 5% over the cash accumulation. So as your cash continues to accumulate, so does your death benefit. Can you see that? So let's say you pass away at 80, you started with a $266,000 death benefit, but it's going to pay $387. And it just continues like that. So the average life expectancy of a man is 84. That's what it's running these days. So basically it'd be about $500,000 you'd have in your IUL. All right, now let's do this. Let's say Tracy plans a trip around the world to celebrate your 70th birthday, and you need money. So what do? You need 50 grand. She's got good taste. I can tell. She's an Alabama fan. Okay. So what we
I ain't
do,
got words. She ain't gonna spend that much.
well, I just want to show you how. So you can pull money out of here. So let's pull out 50 grand at age 70. And I'll show you how when you pull money out, how it works. Okay. And we're going to do now, the reason this is tax free is because you're borrowing that money out. Okay. So let's make this easy math for me. Let's say that 50 grand, they're going to charge you 5%. Now that 50 grand stays in the index. You notice how the accumulation value doesn't go down by 50 grand. It stays in there earning interest. So if they charge you 5% on the 50 grand, they charge you 2,500 a year. If the index returned 10% that year, they pay you $5,000 on your 50 grand that you pulled out of the index. So
Wow.
5 grand minus 2,500 costs, you still made $2,500 on your money. This is called be your own bank. Where would that 2,500 go if you went to a bank, right? The bank,
Yep.
you wouldn't get anything and you would just pay the bank. And this is why people love the IULs, because now your bank money goes down, but do you see how it starts going up again? It replenishes itself because that 50 grand stayed in the index. Now, what if and I gotta paint all these adult scenarios. I hate it, but I'm a pretty positive person. But let's say you pulled the 50 grand out, you took the trip, and then God forbid you passed away. All they would do, they would deduct the 50 grand from the death benefit and pay Tracy 214,000.
Mm.
So that's how they collateralize the money that you borrow and how they're able to leave it in the index. Okay. Now
I see why you watch your back when you walk down the driveway.
yeah, right. I'm telling you.
That's
Well,
making
but
sure
not
your
with
wife ain't
this.
begging.
But see, that's a term policy. This isn't like that because she has I mean, I don't want to make this sound wrong, but there's a big benefit for us living a long, healthy life, because that money,
Yeah.
if we live to 90, we're talking about almost $700,000 and a death benefit of 7.25. So it's not a funeral; it's a celebration of life at that point.
Yeah, that's right.
So, anyways, any questions on that?
None right now.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. So really, let me explain the process of how an IUL works. So this isn't like going to Amazon and ordering something, paying for it. It's in your cart. You pay for it 3 days later, it's on your doorstep. You have to apply for it because of the life insurance. So they've got to run you through what's called the Medical Information Bureau. They run you through that. They have an insurability index, and then they run you through the DMV just to make sure you're not like, just broke out of prison or something, right? So they run you through all these indexes just to check on every individual. Usually takes about 3 weeks to do that. So at the end of the day, really the biggest decision is just, are you comfortable applying at 800? You coming up with the number that you want to apply at, right? So I don't know if 800 is too much, whether you want to lower that, raise that, what you're thinking.
I'm probably lower. What you thinking, babe?
That's up to you.
Mm, I can't think, because right now what I have to do is start allocating some money from out of my 401 to this. So I would have to take my percentage down of what I put in it. Now,
Yeah,
let's
and
say 500 a month.
okay. So if we did 500 a month, And if you get to age 62 and you find that there's an opportunity to keep working till full retirement at 67, you can continue to contribute to an IUL. It doesn't keep you from contributing,
Okay.
right? So, and then it just accumulates, not quite as much as age 80.
Yeah.
I mean, as 800 a month, but still it's a sizable amount of money. Now you can
Yeah.
see what happens when you lower that, the insurance goes down. It was 266,000 at 800 a month. It's 163 at 163,000 at 500 a month.
Okay.
So really, you kind of have, Derek, you have two options. You can cut back on what you're contributing in your 401k. You can also check to see where that money's allocated, because you might want to take a real conservative move on your 401k if they're calling for some kind of a drop in the stock market, put it on
Yeah.
the sidelines. So that's one option. Just divert money out of your 401k to this. The other option is just leave your 401k as it is, keep contributing, and just contribute 500 a month to this if that fits your budget.
Yeah.
So either way you can do that. So what's your
Okay.
preference and how you do it?
Probably to reduce my 401k.
Reduce your 401k. Okay. And just get more money in every month and then allocate that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically what we do is we if 500 is a good number for you, that's the number one number that I get, 500 a month.
Yeah.
I would say 80% of the people that apply do 500 a month. Then the other thing, let me just show you this real quick. You can solve for income. So let's say you don't want to take this until you're fully retired, so you don't have to pay any of it back.
Okay.
Okay. Because with your 401k, the thing they don't tell you is that you're going to pay taxes on the 401k at whatever your current rate is, and you don't know
Yep.
what that rate's going to be at this point. Okay.
That's true.
And then the second thing is that is ordinary income. And depending on whether does your state tax Social Security?
Do I stay what now?
Does Alabama tax Social Security?
I don't think so.
Okay. So like here in Tennessee, they don't tax Social Security, but the amount of money you make determines how much you pay a quarter for your Medicare, right? Because I'm old enough to be on freaking Medicare. So whereas the money coming in from the IUL is tax free, so it doesn't affect your earned income amount.
Income. Okay.
So it lowers, yeah. So anyway, so let's look at if we start taking money at age 67. So, oh, hold it. I did something wrong here. Let's see. I want to take it from age 67 to age 87 annually. There we go. Okay. So what it would start doing, there we go. Okay. It'd be about 8,000 a year for, I got it 20 years, but it'd be an extra 8,000 a year that you just pull out every single year, year after year after year. And it's tax free. So if let's say taxes go up based on how we're spending money these days, and you got 8,000 a year coming in, and let's say your tax rate is by then, let's say it's 25%. That's like having an extra 10 grand a year coming in tax free. Make sense?
Yep.
So that's an IUL. It's really how much you want to pay a month certain amount goes into the death benefit bucket, the rest of it goes in the cash accumulation bucket. And then
Okay.
it just starts compounding. Now, I'll just show this for Tracy. At 800 a month, it's 266. At 500 a month, you don't need as much insurance, so they do 163,000.
Okay.
So it's just because we're paying in less, so the IRS requires less money to go towards the accumulation bucket.
Hmm.
So make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So are you good with applying at 500? Do you want to lower that? Do you want to raise that? What's your thinking, Derek?
We just leave it at 500 and just,
Okay. All
like
right.
I said.
Okay, so let's do this then. So DARICK. You guys do what I do is I transpose numbers. So if you look at you can't see it. I can see it, but it says STALLOWRTH
That's it.
on your Zoom. Okay, there we go. All right. So the three things you need to apply. Number one, you need to your social security number. You got to know that. Number two is they're going to ask where you go to the physician. Where do you go to the doctor? And we just have to look that up on our cell phones. The third thing we've got to do, we have to provide routing number and account number because all this is electronically funds transferred. Then what's going to happen? They're going to assign an underwriter, and we're going to get a note back right away. It's going to say, hey, here's your underwriter, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Then it's going to take 14 working days before someone looks at this. Okay. And then they might ask us a question. Hey, Derek, now, Derek, were you the one, did you have prostate cancer 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to apply. Now they may come back. The limit is 3 years. Okay. So they may come back and ask us some questions about that. We'll just have to answer them. So when I get the questions, I send them to you and we just answer them, and then they make a decision. Okay. So, all right. So let's go ahead and do this.
So before we go ahead and proceed, can we have maybe a day or so to talk about it and then think it over?
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's, run spreadsheets and stuff. You will have 120 days if they approve the IUL to make any changes on it that you want. Like if you said, man, I should have done 800 a month, we can change it. If you say we should have done 300 a month, we can change it.
Yeah.
So they do give you quite a bit of time that you can run reports and do all that stuff.
Okay.
But
Yeah, but from what we saw today, I think we want to sit down and we talk about it and go over and discuss where we really want to be and the amount of money we really want to put in
okay.
together and go from there.
Okay. And Tracy, are you good with that?
I'm good with it.
Okay, perfect. So why don't we do this? I've saved this illustration. So let's go ahead and why don't we plan, let's see, today, what is today, Tuesday?
Yeah, when today is Tuesday.
Tuesday.
What do you think about Friday? We should know something.
What's tomorrow? Wednesday.
Wednesday. It's
Yeah.
today Tuesday tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll talk about it while we're eating.
Okay. Yeah, let's give us about Thursday or Friday and we'll contact you, get back in contact with you.
Okay, why don't we
I
do
think
this?
it'd be
Why don't I
good.
just send you, let's see, are you on Central or are you on Eastern?
Central.
Central. Okay, so we're the same time zone. So why don't I'll send you
We're on
an
the same
invite.
time, yeah.
Yeah, we'll jump on a Zoom. You want to do it Thursday night or Friday night?
That's fine. Thursday be you got Friday night, right?
Yeah, I'm off Friday.
Friday be better.
Okay, let's do
I gotta
this.
work Thursday.
Let's do the same time. Let's
That'll
just
work.
do it on Friday. And
That'll be fine. That's date night, so we take a little time out of date night.
oh, that's date night. Oh man, what a heel I am. Interrupting your date. How long you guys been married?
6 years Sunday.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sunday just passed. Yeah, we was in Miami when she saw it, and that was throw the timing off when you called the first time.
I love that. You know, honestly, I love that TikTok. It just does the best job. Once you get on a topic, the algorithm finds what you're interested in so much quicker than Instagram.
Everything come up.
Yeah, it sure does.
And ever since we saw this, it's like she's been seeing different stuff about it ever since. I told her it's
Yeah.
like when you buy a new car, you don't notice the car on the road until you start driving yours. You be like, oh, they got a car like me. Oh, they got a car like me.
I know, right?
You know? And so really, ever since she saw it, she been seeing stuff on Facebook,
Just Facebook and TikTok.
Facebook and TikTok, and she been every time she's sending me stuff. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
Well, so the thing that I've learned after all the years we've been married is that our wives stay up at night thinking about this stuff, the what ifs. I mean, I gotta believe that the cancer kind of sent a shock wave through, right? And
Yeah.
got you, and then this thing comes along and it gets your attention. So, but you look like you're doing great. You got a little bit of that gray in your beard.
Oh yeah. That's
Very
probably from work. That's probably from work though.
Yeah, look at me then. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead. And the other thing you can do, just to go back to this and give you the example. Oh, hold it. Let me share my screen. So do you know how much, you know what your cash value is in the whole life policy? Any idea?
We don't know. It comes out on auto pay every month, and we
Yes.
don't look at it.
But do they send you a statement?
We don't open them.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
seriously, we
Or I
don't.
don't know if you have a portal online, but if you, how long have you had that, Derek?
I had my first two for about 14 years, and the second one about
Five
6
or
or
six.
7 years. Yeah,
5 or 6.
about 6 years, 5 or 6
Okay.
years.
So let's say, just to show you what this looks like. So let's say between the two, there's $10,000 of cash accumulation. Okay. So what happens is we 1035 exchange that right into the IUL. Now you can see the insurance cost goes up, or the insurance goes up from 166 to 186. But can you see how your first year contribution, 16,000, so 14,197 goes right. So that 10 grand goes right into your accumulation bucket.
Oh
So you
yeah.
never miss a beat. It just, and you don't have to call the company and be a bad guy. In the application, we just list who you have it with, the policy number. So you might have to open a
A
statement.
letter.
Yeah, but you know, and then the company sends a letter just saying, hey, they're 1035 exchanging, and it just happens. So what it does now is when you get down here, it just adds a lot more to your accumulated value because you're
Yeah.
turbocharging it with that 1035 exchange. 1035 exchange is just a fancy word for we're taking the cash accumulation out of the two whole life policies and we're combining it into the IUL.
Okay.
But here's the thing about this. You don't make any changes on your policies because those are enforced, because you never do anything until you get a new policy approved, right? Because you just, you don't know whether you can get approved 3 years after having prostate cancer. So you don't ever want to run that risk. So whatever you decide to go forward, you don't make any changes in those whole lives until it's approved.
Okay.
But how much a month are you paying on those two policies?
I
You
pay
think
124, and we got 100,000 on each one of them.
He
Oh,
said,
you
how
do?
much do you pay a month?
124
No, you don't. Because you got your, well,
on
that's
my
for yourself.
$100,000 policy.
Oh,
I pay
okay. I'm thinking about the
124.
kids.
Yeah, 124.
Okay, so if you do 500 a month and we 1035 exchange the other one, we trade up to 186,000 in insurance, and it really is costing you $376 a month in new money,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, just look at it that way. So 500 is really 376.
Yep.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, listen, have a great night. And we'll see you on Friday night. Happy anniversary.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay. Have a good night.
All right, you
too.
too.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.